Hi, I'm Mario Evon, and you're listening to Talk Truth, a weekly edutainment podcast discussing the things that most people are afraid to, but from a Jamaican perspective. From relationships, sex and sexuality, to the ins and outs of entrepreneurship, in this space we speak about almost anything with the intention to inspire, educate, entertain, and create a fair and balanced space where your truth shall become your power and set you free. Welcome, guys, to the next episode of Talk Truth. And I have an old friend here with me. She's a young girl, but she's my old friend, and she's so many things. And I like to let my guests introduce themselves. So, introduce yourself. Who are you?
Hey world. It's so crazy because I have two daughters and I tell them all the time, what do you like about yourself? Who are you? And I find that is sometimes the hardest thing for people to define, It's the hardest question ever. I mean, we're so taught to be not prideful and celebrate who we are. And so I'm going to start with, I'm a mother. I have a 7 and a 9-year-old that I love to pieces, and I think that's my primary role and passion. What else do I do? I everything creative, from drawing to acting, singing, dancing, you name it. I was innately created for that. And so school was tough for me because my parents did not know why I couldn't pass 40% at math. And it was just a struggle until I really found that, you can have a kinetic genius with somebody who runs really well, or somebody who is able to socialize beyond somebody else. And I realized eventually I found my genius and I found where I belonged.
You were always a creative, eh?
Yeah, but in Jamaica, who talks about that? You barely, if you do art class, it's just a little fluff, all right, go and go to art class.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
I have a confession. I always used to want to call you Calee. I don't know why, but you pronounce it actually. I like when people pronounce their names too.
Okay. I didn't pronounce. You're trying to just be cute about me. I didn't say my name.
All right, let me tell you what I call you. I call you Calee. But I feel like it's not right. I want you to say it.
So it's Calee.
See, it's Calee.
Calee. And for a long time I didn't like it, and so it's Cali, like California. So just call me Calee. But then I think the older I've gotten, I've just, you just find yourself and you're okay with
whatever people call you, right?
What you call. And then I lived in Colombia, so they might call me something close to like Kai, yeah. So, when you travel a lot and you just you can't be uptight about how people, call your name.
Right.
So, but it's Calee.
Well, I want my listeners to know what we're talking about today. Mm-hmm. So the topic is really about you leaving Jamaica and living outside of Jamaica and returning home. I want to call you a returning resident, but that makes you sound old. But really and truly, that's what you are. You're a returning resident. Yeah. So you are now back in Jamaica. And where I want to start with this is tell me a little bit about where you were born in Jamaica and growing up in Jamaica. What was childhood like for you?
All right. So I was born at the University Hospital of the West Indies. Is that name?
Yeah.
Okay. And I grew up in a very Christian, I would say very probably religious, very conservative home. I grew up in a Brethren church. So this means long skirt, you wear your chapel cap to church, you have very minimal jewelry, women sit quiet in the church, and if you go on the stage, a man has to kind of escort you up. So I grew up in that. Now, my father was in charge of youth ministry. He was a fun guy. He was a pastor of youth ministry, and mommy played the piano at church. She did all the music productions, everything music. And from as young as I know, my brother and sister, my sister is 1 year younger than me, and my brother is like 3. You guys might know him. He's the great, amazing.
The great.
What do you call him? Calee Scharschmidt.
Baba.
Amazingness. Yeah. So we would sing together as a trio. So I would keep like the tenor, the high tenor, and then my sister would keep the melody, and Lee would just do anything magic that he wanted to do.
His ears are ridiculous.
Totally. Yeah. So we would go to every convention, every church, and mommy would sign us up for every Jamaica Youth for Christ competition, and we'd just come away with all of these awards for winning, so I grew up in a very musical home and then Christian, and those were the two things that anchored my life growing up.
Right.
Right throughout. Yeah. We went to camps growing up, Moorlands camp, Christian camps, and I think, growing up to serve the church, and then my dad on the side worked at Air Jamaica, and so we would get all these free tickets and we'd travel first class because he was a manager. Check it. So we would just have this. It's amazing. So we'd have on one side this lavish life of access to flights and travel, but then we had no money to spend to travel. And so
is this something what they call the body pass?
The
or
body
that
pass,
was not body pass?
But yeah, it was a body pass. Cool, we are making just play it down. Yeah, the body pass,
No,
the free body pass.
Is a big
Oh,
deal.
don't it?
Everybody
It's amazing.
wants that body pass.
But then we didn't know the time of year where you wouldn't have to wait. And then, I mean, we've had times where we literally had to go home and come back because the flight did full.
Right.
But
because you generally on standby.
Totally. But I think after a while, you get to know the rhythm of when people travel. And so
when
you'd
they
go on
don't
off
travel,
seasons.
right? Or you travel on off days.
Totally.
Interesting.
So from I knew myself, I don't think I skipped 1 year of travel until COVID 2020.
All right, that's pretty cool that you had travel access. That's like an interesting little blessing. Where are some of the countries you had been to as a child through your father? I want to start this at childhood traveling.
Yeah, Scotland.
What?
England. Only place in foreign. I love how Jamaican just decided that foreign is America.
Right,
America.
foreign is America alone.
America alone. Alone.
Well, it can be other parts, but it really is America.
Where else did we go?
So he had legs. Oh, he had like flights to these places, or you guys did actually intentionally travel to some of these countries to see?
Well, he worked at Air Jamaica. He was a manager, and so I think we had wherever we had family.
Oh.
Or if we ever felt like having a little detour.
Scharschmidt is Scottish?
You know how we ended up there? Because you end up with a leg to go to England, which how I travel now is like I make sure I have 2 days in a country.
Right.
Like so I think it was just one of those
you
in passing,
were passing
and
to
we
go
stayed
somewhere.
there
Unintentionally.
But England, we had a lot of family, and then in the United States, I'm trying to remember.
Guthrie Scottish, by the way. While you're
it is?
It is interesting, eh?
You know, it's so crazy because I did my ancestry.com and we found out my name is Scharschmidt, guys. Let me spell it for you. It's SCHARSCH. Go.
Oh, I know it. I wasn't thinking. MIDT.
Yay!
But I have to spell it because
that's so crazy. But my dad's dad is from Cuba. So, and we try to track it back and I don't,
Eh? All right, so
interesting. Anyway,
some people don't actually enjoy traveling. So you actually were exposed to traveling, and it sounds like you really did enjoy it as a child. And I know you continue to enjoy it. I don't want to hop, skip, and jump, but I know that in the next question you will be able to lead me up to it. I want to get to the meat of the matter. Why did you migrate? And about how old you were at the time, if you don't mind disclosing.
No, that's fine. Okay, so, are you guys ready for this? Okay, so I was 25. I had just done Miss Jamaica.
Oh, you did Miss Jamaica World,
Miss Jamaica World, and I was married. And I almost remember...
You were married after the competition?
You have to be married after. So I remember I was like, but maybe if I win, I can't get married. But then it worked out that I got the best of both worlds. You're a finalist, and then I got to get engaged and got married, which was kind of cool. So my husband at the time,
right,
who had lived in Jamaica for some 6 to 8 years as a missionary. I guess we can probably go into that after.
So he's not a Jamaican?
He's not a Jamaican.
Where's
he would
he
like
originally?
to think so.
Where's he originally from?
He's originally from Pennsylvania.
Okay, so he's American.
In Philadelphia. He's American. And so he, after his tenure there, we felt like, we should move back to the States. He was a professional skateboarder and he loved surfing. And so
I remember being like a super cool guy, like extreme sports kind of vibe guy.
And they would use him for all the things and all the events. And he was, and I think that's what attracted me to him. And
being a missionary, he would be a Christian too, which would have aligned, right?
It was just like everything. Because I remember feeling I was different when I grew up in Jamaica. I wanted more. I feel like the access to things where you either do good at academics and you have liquor running and football. And I just knew there was something bigger inside me. So by the time I met Stephen, he had tattoos. He was this grad skateboarder. Then he had lived in Jamaica. So I wouldn't have to define what my culture was to him.
He understood it. And he had been here for years.
Been here for years.
And
served the poor. Had seen, the toughest of the tough.
Right.
And then...
Which would have potentially been a barrier in another intercultural, interracial relationship. Yeah.
And then he was Christian, which... I know no other way.
Icing on the cake.
Oh my gosh. And I remember one of our first dates was actually, and this might be controversial, we went to an American tattoo artist when we traveled together before we moved. And I got a Jesus fish on my ankle that I drew. Yeah. And I thought, this is so cool. Coming from this very conservative culture where they almost read me out to the church because I had a double piercing and a nose ring. But I knew there was something more that I just, wanted. That's not the question that you asked me. You asked me.
I see why you migrated, but you get in there though. So you did the competition.
Right. I did the competition and then
I could
married.
have a mini podcast on every piece of your life.
Oh my gosh, it's so complex.
We could talk about you doing a beauty pageant also. But I know that you have always felt like what you've described, kind of against the grain.
Yeah.
Which I mean, even way more than I am, because I feel I'm also a little bit of a misfit in this space. But you have always felt that way. And it's another conversation we almost discussed having, which was kind of like spirituality and Christianity. And I'm sure what would come up in that is how you function in the physical space too, versus what you believe and what you practice. Because your expression is so different from what you believe, and we get so caught up in physical expressions of things, but we're pulling you back.
Let's go all the way back.
All the way back to beauty pageant, and you got married to this wonderful man.
I got married to this guy, and so we had our first daughter in Jamaica. We lived at Moorlands. I don't know how many of you know Moorlands campsite. It's a Christian campsite that invites children from 9 to 18 to come and spend a week
for summer, usually, right?
Summer, yeah. So it's a lot of fun and excitement, but it's Christian based. So anyway, so Stephen lived at Moorlands campsite because he ran their first skate park that was built with ramps and all of that. And he would help to run like the zip line and just help to kind of maintain and manage a facility. And so he was doing that at the time when we met. And so I came to live at Moorlands and kind of settled in with him there. We had our first daughter. And then shortly after he said, let's move to the States. I believe God has a mission for us here. I believe the people in California, which we kind of call Babylon, was what he was seeing.
Right.
They had everything. So they didn't know they needed God because you have all of this material wealth. So we felt an obligation to go and live amongst these people.
Right.
And we did, I mean, who are we? You know what I mean?
But that would be a good space to be a missionary because there are people who need to be converted and see
and
the
just
light. Just understand.
Know the reason. So, and that's why we moved. And, I'm a new wife. So I put away all my little, it's what Calee wants. And I was happy to submit. And I mean, I'm sure I gave him some trouble because I love Jamaica and things were going great for us. But eventually we moved. And it's been close to 9 years since my return.
Oh, wait, when did you return?
It's been a whole year. COVID took out a lot of it. It doesn't even feel real.
So it's been a year. So you were in the US for about 8 years? 8
and more.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing these tourist board videos, like a campaign. Like the really cool videos at the time. They weren't... Actually, they were so cool because at the time I didn't think people were using drones and all those things as much. And I remember a cool shot maybe overhead of you and a man in a was it your husband?
Yeah.
That's super cool. So you got to do that with him at the time.
Totally. It was one of those opportunities that came up because of Miss Jamaica, and I auditioned for it. And Stephen was there with me because I was so nervous.
Right.
And I was like, "Can you read a speech for me before I go?"
Yeah.
And Mezan was the one who was directing it at the time. Yeah. And I've known her for many years, and so and Rick, this other gentleman, this guy, and they caught him on camera and recorded it without him knowing. And so by the time they look back on the reels to select us, they're like, no, the two of you are doing it together. Had no idea we were together. But it was just...
But they like the energy.
They love the energy between us. Yeah. And the rest is history. And they hired us, paid us, nice money to represent Jamaica. Yeah. And it was great. You got to stay at all of these hotels. It was rushed and, it's production, so it's not as luxurious as you'd assume, but... It was cool. I feel like we were vlogging before vlogging was a thing.
Exactly.
Looking back at it, I cringe and like, oh.
Yeah,
but it, it was a thing. And people will see me now at hotels. I remember we had come back a few years ago, like, oh my gosh, Stephen and Calee from Ponder Road.
Yeah, you are like a little,
It was like, wow.
Just like, what you call this, reality TV.
Yeah, exactly. Before reality TV was a thing. So that was cool. And then they actually, when we moved to the States, they called us back to do another set of vlogs with Nyla. So they wanted to show how Jamaica was kid friendly and how, you could bring your baby and still enjoy a vacation. Mm-hmm.
So you said the first child was born in Jamaica, then you guys migrated.
Yeah.
You have a second daughter. I don't want to go, and this podcast is not about your relationship, but I do want you to tell me a little bit about what living in the US was like. So I want to know about the culture shock leaving.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't even call it culture shock. It may not have been culture shock for you,
Right.
but the newness of it and how things changed. And did you enjoy it?
Okay. So I don't think my experience is typical. So when we moved to the States, I ended up in a small neighborhood in California called Seal Beach. So it's a beach town where everybody is walking with a surfboard, half naked, skateboarding down the road. You're on the beach. When I tell you that we lived in a house and when you stepped outside, we were on the beach. And so it was predominantly white. I think must have been the only black human there in the whole town. And so
everybody must have didn't know you.
Oh my gosh. And then yes, they did. But it's so funny because you come from Jamaica and race has never been a thing that would ever hold you back. You just know that you're awesome from you born.
Right.
So when I went in with a force. You know me?
Yes.
You know me?
It was too much for them,
come from Jamaica. Yeah, man, them call Stephen used to call me the mayor of Seal Beach. Me in everything. We know everybody. We go to the library. We know the principal. Yeah. No inhibitions. Nothing held me back initially. And I just thrived. It was a great community. It was almost so picket fencey because I remember having babies. We'd go to the library every day and they'd have these programs and they taught them to read. You would freely go jogging. I don't remember even having a key for my door. I never had to close up.
Right.
So it might be different from maybe somebody who lived in New York and whatever, but mine was just
city, but you're out in a beach town.
I understood white privilege. Their lives are so ideal. It really is cutesy.
Right. And it is comfortable. Like
very comfortable.
And it's what some of them understand. I won't blanket it.
Totally. And then for me, because I was an anomaly, you know how you'll hear some black Americans like, don't touch my hair or whatever. Right. I was like, please touch my hair.
Right. You like experience it.
Because for me it was, you don't get to see me and I think I'm awesome. So it's like, I think I had that confidence, a sure sense of self.
Maybe you wanted to make a teaching moment of it. So you were like, touch my hair.
Yes, it wasn't about you making me feel different. It was like, I want you to love me and know me.
Right, I understand what this is.
Yeah, exactly. So
So it was a good experience. It was a good place.
It was a good experience. One negative I would say is it felt lonely because Americans need to have a schedule. So if you're going to visit your neighbor,
you can't drop in.
No, I'm sure you know that too. From 1:30 to 1:45, yeah, man, you can come over for the drink and then you jolly well leave after that and you schedule for next week and the week after. And I think the beauty of, and I'm skipping to it, and I think that in the opposite respect, coming back home, I would always tell people, you know that when I used to go people's house to just show up, and then when them go to bed, them tell you to lock the grill when you're leaving.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's just you just gave us a taste of it, but
yeah.
So while you were there, though, some other things were going on. So. I love how my mind just thought about the. You are an actress. You are an actress, and I mean, what were the kind of things you're a missionary too? Not so much?
I wasn't defined as a missionary, but looking back at it, I realized how my life in California really impacted the people around me just by me living out life.
Right.
I would have, just different people. I remember one of the moms who I'd hung out with had on our shirt, everyone knows someone who had an abortion.
Yeah.
Or they were just very liberal. Nyla's best friend did not know his sex. He would wear sparkly shoes to school and pink bag and long hair.
Identified?
I don't think they defined it for him. We had lots of parents who decided not to define it for their children.
For him, he chose these things and they allowed him to express himself
exactly.
That way.
And I had a friend who they had to go and talk to the school and say, hey, can we use another bathroom? My daughter thinks she's a son.
Right.
So these are the things coming from conservative Jamaica that were tough for me to open my mind concerning. It was hard.
Did it challenge your Christianity?
It did. I would come to God and say, God, why are these people attracted to me? I remember even the mom married to the mom and the kid at first. I was like, why do I want to just always have play dates? Why do I want to hang out with me? I don't know how to deal with it. I come from Jamaica. We don't know. We burn out things. We don't know what is this.
But a lot of it was challenging your sensibilities as you knew.
Totally. And it completely has changed the way I think now.
Absolutely,
and just... even in my Christianity, that Jesus just loves people.
Right. And we need to love people too.
He loves people.
And because guess what? We don't... I always say this to people. I say, you don't have the power to bring people in or take them out. And from you don't have that power, from that is not your power, then all you have to do is just, learn to accept them for who they are. You may not agree
Right.
with what they do, and it doesn't mean that you're going to do it.
Right.
It doesn't mean that your children and your family might do it, but you might have children who do it. You have to love them. You have to find a place to love them.
You have to. People have to walk their own
journeys and
I don't know if for me, I remember every time I've had to change something that I thought needed to change in my life, it was always a friend who came alongside that didn't judge me, just lived out her life, and I was just so impressed by her grace or how they were living, and then I would come around. And so I couldn't tell a lady, abortion is wrong in her view, even though I didn't agree with that.
Right.
I just ignored it. She obviously wanted that, and I just loved on her, loved on Jonah, kept living. You want rice? You're going to cook today? Let's go have lunch. Let's go to the play date. And
you didn't impose your views on her.
We just lived and loved and enjoyed life together. And I noticed that they did see a difference, and then eventually some of them would start coming to little programs with me, or like a little thing they had at the church, or not that the church is anywhere to say, they come to the church, like the church is the answer. Jesus is the answer.
But
for
their connection to you made them feel comfortable coming into the space.
Totally, exactly.
And then you never know what they'll get from the space after that.
People grew, they became involved, and I remember walking through the streets when I would run every morning, and I would just pray for the streets, like, heal these people, help them, Lord, help them to see you, help them to love you, and so I was kind of a undercover missionary, I guess. Yeah.
8 years is a long time.
Yeah.
That means a lot of life happened in 8 years. Clearly, there was a reason you had to come home, which you can share if you feel like. Why did you come back home?
So it's more complicated. So I know I've kind of shed some very happy light on my experience in the States, but it was also the toughest time of my entire life. Isn't life like that?
Yeah.
There's like this analogy I found recently of a battery. For a battery to shine, it needs like a negative and positive ions. Is that the word?
Or terminals. Negative and
two of them on each side. It can't shine with the two positive
terminals,
them
poles,
only.
Yeah.
Right. And because when I look back and I saw where I traveled all of these places and I had all these experiences and I could see how God used me, it was the toughest time of my life. I went through a divorce. So I followed this wonderful man to the States, and things went crashing down. And I won't go more in depth just to protect his privacy.
Yeah.
So it couldn't work.
People come together and people come apart sometimes.
There you go.
So for various reasons, you guys decided that it was best that you part.
That we parted ways. And how about, I was a new mom to the States, so all I knew of myself was pushing a stroller. We had one car at the time, so he would take it to go to work. And I was growing babies. And the situation was so dire that I had to make that decision. It was a very tough decision. Remember, I don't have any family. I don't have anybody to call.
Not in that area either.
Anywhere. Nobody to say, hey, can watch your kids while I go cry?
So you didn't immediately run home right after divorce. You got a divorce and remained in the US.
I couldn't. I mean, it would have been. Remember that in America too. It's not like thing like in Jamaica. The law stands. I mean, the law stands here, but you can't play with the law there.
Right.
And and before we got divorced, you kind of have to. You share custody of the kids, you have community property and all of that.
Right, so there was some stuff that you have to sort out.
Exactly. And so by the time we had gotten divorced, I remember thinking, every situation I've heard of divorce that wasn't successful with little girls is when their dad wasn't present, or something happened, or they had daddy issues when they grew up. And so I made that sacrifice to share custody 50-50 with their dad, so that even though we wouldn't be together and that would have scarred them in some way, they would have their dad.
Two role models.
And so I gave up my right to be a mom more of the time for their future and just hoping that they would turn out.
Which I think is responsible personally.
Yeah.
I think kids love their parents.
They love
even
their
if their parents stop loving each other.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
1,000,000%.
Yeah. I mean, I think in an ideal world, they would want them to stay together. But I also truly believe that people should also pursue their happiness. So if you and somebody not get along, the more left that, the kids can have the parents.
Totally.
The parents need to go on and continue to flourish.
I'm mindful of being selfish. Like, I wonder at what stage do you look after yourself and what age. So I face a lot of guilt with that. I
don't know if it spills over into relationships though.
You don't think so?
Marriages. I don't think marriages should be maintained if they are dying a natural
Really?
death.
Because I feel like if
for
I
the
got,
sake of kids.
I think my standards are so low now with marriage, I shouldn't say that. But I think I would tolerate a lot more. I think I would forgive a lot more. I think I would see
You mean
my
retrospectively?
life. Yeah.
Okay.
I would see my life as a green pasture for that person to grow and be. I would just see myself as here to help facilitate your life alongside me. And I don't know if it's easier said than done.
Probably. But here are the lessons in life, eh? That every experience will bring a lesson, right?
Totally.
This is new perspective.
Yeah.
All right, I'm pulling you back to traveling.
Okay.
All right.
Wait, do you grow up with both parents?
I grew up with both parents and I have one brother.
Oh, cute.
And my parents are still married. They just celebrated 48 years.
Oh my gosh, you have to have them on.
You know, my mom is not big on public anything.
Just
my father has been on though.
You can't have hidden microphones.
No hidden mic, right?
I'd love to hear from them anyway.
How old was your first daughter when you migrated?
She was 6 months.
All right, so where I'm going with this is that at some point you returned home about a year ago. So that means how old were both of them when you were coming back?
Their age is no lie. Sailor just turned 8. So there were 7 and there were 6 and 8. Yeah.
How was it for you kind of trying to think about, wow, I'm going to come back to my home with these 2 daughters who kind of pretty much would have been American because they would have grown up there, even though they were exposed to Jamaican culture. And all of these things, you're coming back to a different pace, different access. Was that scary for you?
1,000,000%. So what you didn't know, which is what is miraculous, is that because Steve and I had come to the States, it was like, it was meant to be a short time. It's like a mission trip that I ended up being stuck there.
Right. You weren't supposed to be there for 8 years.
This wasn't the plan. And so I remember praying every day and I said, God, you have forgotten me. You know, I felt like I went to India and I just got stuck there. And it was a nice place. It's America. But it still felt that way because I had no intentions of being here. And I love my home.
You're on a mission trip that got extended.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened, Mario. Can you imagine how awful that is? And it's not your choice. Think about, this is how I felt, like I was held hostage in a place that I didn't know when I was, like you could not plan for your life. Right. Everything is uncertain. Everything as you know it. You know, you and your friends say, all right, I have babies now. All of your friends have picnic and you gonna leave them and don't know that you gonna ever come back and we are dilly-dally with friend here and friend who don't know what.
Right. It was interesting.
So I prayed every day for 8 years and Stephen looked at me and said, I want to move back. For whatever reasons, whatever his reason was.
Also, both of you came back.
He's remarried with a child now, by the way. And so I was like, there's no way he's coming back. From what I heard, he wasn't married. That was hard for me because I'm like, okay, so she's American, he's American, and they have a baby. Why on earth would you decide to move back to Jamaica? Right. So as far as my logic could, like, I was just going to be there forever. Yeah. So just picture being depressed and lonely for years and years and years. Even though God was using me, I was like, God, you're just using me to just do your will and none of this is for me. Right. You're just making me grow these kids and we're in a picket fence neighborhood and everything is great, but nobody cares about me. Right. So it was very hard being alone and yeah. And so he looked at me and said, let's move back. But it's so funny. I didn't see what God was doing initially. I saw him thinking that he's remarried and I'm his ex-wife and you can pick up and go wherever you want in the world and I'm wherever you go. Follow behind. You're
not thinking I'm coming back home.
No. And an auntie that we have as a mutual friend here in Jamaica kind of had to knock it into my head like, dude, this is your country. This is where you know, this is your territory. This is your space. This is your opportunity. Right. You still, because you inside of you is this fight. You've been fighting so much. That was a different battle, yeah. Totally. And you wanted to still fight it, but you weren't seeing the joy and the pluses there. Totally. And, you know, where maybe he had savings and plans, I did not. Yeah. So I was like, what am I going to do? And so I woke up one morning and I don't know if it was a dream or a vision, and God was the one that said, hey, this is your door this is your answer to your prayer. And shortly after I said, Mommy, I need you to jump on a flight and come and help me pack up my house. So all that happened within 3 weeks. No savings. I had a new job that was finally going to ground me in motivational speaking, being on a stage, helping Orange County, the whole county with youth development. Yeah. and I could, probably start acting more with the kids, having a more stable thing going. There's
so you
so
did have
many
opportunities
dreams
that were about to open up in that space,
so
right?
isn't that God funny? It's just like,
and things that
this
you probably
is you,
had
God,
wanted to do,
and right, and
then this,
and then this.
And then you decided you're going to do it. You're going to come back home.
Yeah. So packed up my home. We had 6 bags because I didn't have money to ship, which is like $2,000. Didn't even have $2,000 US. And we just literally, mommy came and we had to throw away so much. It was so heart-wrenching to watch us throw things away.
Right.
We had like 2 jeans pants in my bag, 2 each for the girls. We had to literally bring the
really come down to the bare minimum. Just have one dress here, one jeans here, one shoes here.
So you see me like a one frock, it look a shot with this what I have, Mario.
Right. You've had this for the year.
Exactly.
and it is COVID year, so you haven't traveled and you haven't shopped much.
That's right. That's right.
It's a nice dress.
Thank you. So we're socially distanced.
We are socially distanced. We are. As far as I can't even reach you. As far as they're concerned, this is virtual.
I gave it away. I realized when I was like, oh, you can see my dress. We're zooming.
Exactly. Where's the video, Mario? When are you going to post it?
I know, right? Mommy didn't know.
No, so all right, mommy come, she helped me with 6 bags on a Marie Kondo, the thing, anything that never sparked joy, dash it away.
Yeah,
I know Marie Kondo. I know Marie Kondo.
You know.
All right, so then
that's so good.
You came home with these bags and the girls and mommy.
Come to live with my parents in their humble abode.
How humbling is that?
Oh gosh.
Big woman for 8 years and
big
come back home.
Big woman with 2 in tow for come live with my tail between my legs. Mommy, we can have room and stay, or you call it, bread and breakfast.
You know, they're always happy to have you
but they were
back.
so happy. Yeah. And the dog.
Mostly they miss you too, you know?
Oh yeah, gosh. That's why mommy jump on the plane when I know where she just jump. I mean, I remember every time I was going through a hard time in my divorce and process, like I could call her one day and she'd be on a flight the next couple days.
Had
she
you
was
come
so
home
awesome.
anytime at all?
I
in
did.
8 years?
I came home twice
for
like 2 weeks or 1 week or a funeral, and then before that, came a few times. Yeah.
What was returning like initially outside of moving into your parents' home? So now this is the reverse culture shock. Even though, as you said, you had been back a few times, you said not a lot. And Jamaica
like
has changed a lot in 8 years.
Gosh.
Structurally and otherwise. So what was it like coming back into this space?
I remember coming off the airplane, and you can't deny that scent of Jamaica. I don't know what it is. It's like a smell and the heat. That woof of deep heat.
It's a different heat.
It's a different heat. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah,
and
different.
You come off, and you see the portals, and you see, and finally people notice you. They look at you, they say, pretty girl. And I know people don't like this, and I know coming from the States, you know, you have boundaries and you need to respect it. But listen to me. One thing I remember about living in the States, you are like nobody. You dress up and you look cute, and on your white dress. You don't have a Mario for tell you say dress cute.
Yeah,
nobody don't see you. So for me, come back and somebody say, nice girl, me say, hello.
I was going to say, worse if you were in the city of LA, even worse, because I think LA is so pretentious compared to New York. I like gritty cities. I like New York because it's dirty and integrated. But what I didn't like about LA was because I was around entertainers. So when I went into singing spaces and clubs and those spaces, everybody was so well put together and so important. Yeah. So like aloof with their heads up. Like people really wouldn't look at you if they don't know you.
No, they don't care.
So I'm like, wow, I can't do LA.
And I don't think I was a look. You know, you had the skinny white girl with the blonde hair. Like me. Yeah. And I remember coming home and feeling and seeing a woman, and I was like, wow, it's almost like if you lived away from China or Africa. I don't know why I use those cultures. But then I was like, these people look like me.
Right.
I feel normal. My hips, my body structure, it felt like home.
And I'm sure entering this time felt different because you knew you were coming back to live versus visiting.
Totally.
So you were probably like, oh.
Totally. I was excited. Why was I excited? I was just excited. I didn't know how I was going to afford life or figure life out. But I trusted God, and I had an opportunity to come and be the speaker at Morelands Camp even before I came back. So I almost saw God opening doors for me that were just had to be supernatural, how he had opened doors for me. And then I was able to go right into a job as soon as I got here and pay expensive school fees for my girls, which I didn't think. I was like, I'm just going to have to go primary school.
Which is
fine
too, but that
may not expect.
Right, but from where they were coming from, it would be a big transition for them. Wow.
It would be very down to earth.
I want to know, tell me a little bit about work, and I want to come back to the girls because I want to know how they have transitioned in the year. But tell me about employment. You said doors were opening. So what are you doing now? How are you surviving?
What am I doing now? So because I did so many things in the States, from acting, even doing a lot of voiceovers, they would use me for like an international sound for like, I think plastic surgery company. The era is now of da-da-da-da-da, and I would do it, and they would just get so excited about my accent.
They're like, you sound like Island, but you actually, we understand you.
Can you say era or era? Like, no, do it like how you do it. I was like, okay.
They're like, we love it.
I know. It was, I mean, they were just, so maybe they didn't look at me at the streets, but there are times when I felt really special.
Right. Voiceover times.
Voiceover times, my accent times. Right. Yeah. So you asked me about coming. So what you had to say again? I always lose my train of thought.
What may I ask you like, you know?
You said about
money. Oh, yeah, I make money.
Right. So I came back, and
because of all the experiences
so this is what in the state, and you know, people Jamaicans frightened for foreign. But I think the place where they'd hire me did frighten for foreign though. But and maybe there is something to be said that you went to Berklee College of Music, so you studied something. So when you come back, you have something to offer.
Right.
And the truth is, there is a lot. I know people say, "Oh, when you go foreign," but the truth is, we learn so much. We gain so much.
A different
we learn
perspective.
work ethic, so much. I remember when I finally nailed going places early.
Yeah.
And then I came back to Jamaica after I nailed it, and I was like, I don't need it anymore. I joke.
Which yeah, I know, right?
I was like, me showing up first and nobody else not come early. Might as well.
What's the point, right?
But okay. So when I came back, I jumped into media and production.
Mm-hmm.
So that went from anywhere, directing photo shoots, music videos, writing up proposals for different clients and companies who wanted branding, social media management, all of it. Voiceovers, ideation. I love ideation. Isn't that cute? I like the word.
Ideation. I like it too. It's like about creating ideas.
It's just like creating ideas.
It's concept creation.
Totally. So like if you said you wanted to do your vlogging, we'd sit down and
figure out how to make it
not
look.
Not just content. Like what is our theme? Kind of like, I guess like branding.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So it's been great being in this creative space ever since I've been back. It's so fun.
I can imagine. Because this is what I do in my head.
So fun. Event planning. I like...
But you work for a company, not independently, right?
Worked at a company, worked independent, and work independent right now.
Oh, wow.
COVID-19.
Wow, that's awesome. So, guys, if you need her, her services, give her a call. We should find out how you can find her. All right.
So, like, you go find out and you Kingston.
No, man, we get work for you. So, not there, And the girls now, so how have they been doing?
God, I mean, kids are just so resilient. You would never believe they weren't Jamaican their whole life. They've swooped in, they've made friends, they've adjusted flawlessly.
And mommy and daddy are here.
Mommy and daddy
so that's perfect, right?
Right, yeah. Me, you mean, or grandma and grandpa?
You said that daddy lives here now too, right?
Daddy lives here and now, so we share the time. So he's totally.
So they're now in just a new country, still with both parents, which is kind of cool, right?
The only thing I would say, and I need to speak out about this with Jamaican culture and being able to compare them. Jamaica has a rough culture. When my kids are in the States, they walk into school, Nyland, Sayla, it's so good to see you. I like your hair. And when you go to the front, nothing is wrong. Oh, we love what you had to share. We want to hear from you.
Right.
They're celebrated.
Right.
Every kid in the class gets an award and an accolade. They compare themselves with only themselves. It's not like the system that we grew up in with. And maybe life is like that. But I think at that age, I need to just be nurtured in who they are.
Right, but we have to deal with so much
Jamaicans. You're just so rude. I wish I climb up there so far.
Right.
You're rude. Come down.
Or why you look so, why this, or you're so fat or something. But from early we get it. But we make us tough though. That's the thing.
It make us tough, but I find that we're shy and insecure.
Yeah.
You know, I used to find people force rape.
Right.
Because they haven't had that.
My dad says all the time, he say American kids are the way they are because they're nurtured in that way, and then they do summer work. Because summer work is huge for them.
Totally.
So they learn this confidence with handling money and being responsible and being managers. Even if they're not very smart, they become very charming and customer service oriented. Yes. And that sells them. So they're always kind of like easy to sell. And we're brilliant, but we're sheepish and we're shy and we don't know if we talk up, and because you kind of feel insecure because somebody make you feel insecure until you become an adult.
And you figure it out yourself.
You figure it out down
but
the
I
line.
have to be undoing all of that. I'm still afraid of principals and teachers from prep school. If I go down at the prep school now, I'm afraid of the lady.
I kind of feel like it is what it is, but I understand what you're saying. So for them though, so they came in confident. Then they came with a force.
They came in, but I noticed that they're kind of because their teaching here is fear based and power. Like I am over you.
Right.
There, it's the respect is linear. So if I speak to you like this, you can speak to me like that.
Right.
You feel free to correct me, tell me, and
so they're learning
open.
to recoil now. They're recoiling a little bit.
And I don't know if I love it. I teach them, which is hard for mommy and daddy living in their home, because I'm like, respect is linear. If you say, Nyla, you're this and you're that, she shouldn't do it.
Right.
But she should be able, like, you know, she needs to be able to rebut.
Or ask a question.
I'm like, no, my words are great. What I have to say, I have something to contribute.
Oh, what do you mean by that, Mom?
Exactly. I would have get a box across my face.
You better do ask no questions, speak when spoken to.
So I don't know if it did any good for me. I don't know. I don't know. I think I wish I wasn't so shy when I work with these people in the United States. They're younger than me.
But you seem to be such a confident person, though.
So far from the truth.
You know, is that interesting?
I'm good at acting. We're creatives.
I think I project a lot of confidence too. But actually, I feel like I'm confident. I don't feel like that's one of my weaknesses. But it's not my podcast.
You don't have
yours.
any like
I have
that makes you
weaknesses.
insecure. Do you get?
I have a bunch of stuff. Look, how making you interview me now. Maybe I'll make you interview me one day. Maybe you're the person.
Is that a nice way of telling me that I'm talking over you?
No, I was talking over you. That's why I'm pulling back. This is your episode, not mine. I don't know how me coming at this.
No, I love it.
I might edit it. I might keep it too. All right. So the girls have been doing good minus that. So that's a cultural shift for them.
That was one
but
thing
that's good. That's not. I don't feel like that's a. I mean, I don't think there's a massive thing.
No.
In the context of the things you could go through.
Totally.
Like, what if they hate the food and then just can't
they do.
eat?
I forgot about that.
They don't love the food?
No. Them ask me for olives. I forgot price. I go buy olives. And, Mommy, can we go up to Sora for lunch? One time, I take them there for a nice event, you know.
But they want some Asian cuisine?
Because when we're in the States, after school, we can go down to the little sushi shop.
That will change.
And Vons have little olives, them, you know, you give them a little thing with free, you know, you sample. But we are Jamaican.
So we
take the little thing with a sample and that is lunch. Now them a come ask me if we buy the expensive things. They need Taco Tuesdays. I said, look here.
They will soon want I can
look here, patty, $170 patty. I don't want patty, mommy. I said, patty is what we're having. So that's
gosh. All right. This is an interesting question. Did any of the once familiar things to you, 8 years is not that long, but feel odd?
Say that again.
Do any other things that used to be very familiar to you now feel odd? So in other words, almost like if has the Americanization of the 8 years shifted some things for you. So now that you are back, you're like,
Yeah. So, and I think I touched on it, which is so crazy. I wish I could tell you something apart from, I remember being really, really hot when I came back. I was like, this is unbearable. Fine. But the rough culture affected me because I had lived 8 years of being positively affirmed every single day of my life. Every gifting I had was shined off and people put me on a pedestal. They saw me on a movie set as a background and say, you come here. And then you end up with a line and a main role.
You are unique.
And I think the people around me just celebrated who I was. I feel like I'm contradicting myself because I said they don't notice me on the road. But once they knew me, like they said, okay, you be the Sunday school superintendent for this little predominantly white church. And so opportunities that I wouldn't get here, so weird that, you know, I picked up when I was there. So when I came back, I had a hard time because my parents, Jamaicans, speak very chill. I want to your head biggie, how you look, so, you know, so I was very sensitive and everything bothered me. And I realized that I also had a shift of friends because this is how you talk to each other. This is just how you joke around with each other.
Meaning that the people who handled you in a way that made you feel disrespectful, you kind of pulled away from them?
Just pulled away. And these are like my closest
from
friends.
From long time.
And I gravitated towards the ones
that were more affirming.
Whether it was just more definitely affirming all the way.
But it's not a bad thing, though?
It is. But
it's not bad, though.
I had to die a really tough, what do you call it? It's like a death of, because I thought I was coming back to fit right into my roles, my same friend groups, same opportunities, all of that. And it wasn't like that at all. So I had to be okay with the move away because I don't think I intentionally did it. It kind of just shifted on its own and it was hard because I love these people. I remember living day in and out with them and it's, you know, not like
and
that
they've known
anymore.
you for a long while.
Forever.
So it has nothing to do with any of your fundamental stuff like your
love
Christianity
them.
or anything like that.
We're great, but I realize that, and
different
things,
energies, eh?
Totally. And I have a weird position that I'm in because I have children, but I'm single, and so most of my friends are married.
Yeah.
Because I've come home to all of these friends, and so it's been it's an interesting dynamic from when I left to find my place. Before I was in college, peer powering, games, nights, fun. And I'm like, oh yeah, I have 2 kids now and I'm not married. So
and maybe one friend who's single.
And so I have a couple of friends that are single with no kids.
Yeah.
But then the rest of them are married with kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I'm just Calee.
Right.
So that's been interesting. I mean, I try to be really cool even though I have kids, but
yeah, I wouldn't even like think of you like as a mom of big kids.
But then you still say, oh, I'm gonna have a
I need to go
drop them to school.
Yeah.
Feed them, put them to bed. No, we can't hang out at 9:00.
Which is a great segue into dating in Jamaica. So a single mother of 2 big daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Relatively small island. Some people are Tindering. COVID. All right, COVID aside, let's remove COVID out of the equation.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID, back in Jamaica.
Yeah.
But you know what? You answer this question. What is it like trying to meet people in Jamaica now, returning home?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I wanted to leave it wide open.
No, I love it.
I want you to take it anywhere you want because I have my thoughts.
Okay, so it's a really full question.
Yeah, it's full.
Because I've come a long way. I've come from a place where I have kids. I'm 50 pounds heavier. No one's ever going to be attracted to me. I'm never going to get married again, and I have to be okay with that. Mm-hmm. And then the more that I've healed, and at first I was like, if I really do need to get married because I have needs like sex and so on, then I'm just gonna have to settle. But I'm at a place now where I'm just like, maybe I don't need to settle. Maybe I have a few lumps and I don't think I'm perfect. And I think it's easier because in the States you have all of the pool of people and candidates. There's just a lot of people, and I think Jamaicans, as you get older, you want. Well, for me, I want what I know, what feels familiar.
Yeah.
At first you're like, I'll go for the European and the different accents and all that cool stuff. But no, as I just want it to feel familiar, and I think that was exciting about coming home to Jamaica.
The potential of being with a Jamaican again.
Totally. And so Jamaica is small, and I must confess, and I think I'm gonna feel bad for saying this, but I did try Bumble Jamaica.
The Bumble, yes.
And every 5 people and you're just like, oh, they're gonna see me on here. It's so shameful.
You
they're
actually start seeing people,
I'm so needy, and so I'm just not like a tasteful, classic woman who is waiting at the top of the tree to be picked.
Internet dating, huh?
Oh, it was awful. And I'm
Did
guessing,
you meet anybody cool on Bumble?
I met a few people.
As they listen to this episode.
Met a few people.
All right, say no more.
But
no, it didn't work out.
No.
All right, it didn't work out.
It's a mess.
But you know what though? Same way you met your husband right here in Jamaica.
True.
Same way you're going to meet the next man too.
You speaking this into me and you have a gift of prophecy?
I feel I low-key do. But I'm also an optimist. I call myself the eternal optimist.
It work.
So it work.
Mario,
it work.
Take everything you say.
No, it work because here's the thing. I don't know. I would tell people that for relationships is a coffee shop thing. I love my coffee shop analogy. My podcast listeners know it. Mm-hmm. It's basically you're going to walk into a coffee shop, you're going to order something, and the person behind you is going to speak to you, and that's going to be your next partner.
Oh my
God,
that's
kind of
so
how
cute.
It works. So it's almost like I'm not super intentional about relationships because relationships happen.
But I
don't
feel like
believe
men need to find.
Hunt.
I think you need to hunt though. I think it's an excuse.
No, I think men need to hunt.
Don't the Bible say he will find, like you need to go find it?
Hunt when you identify the kill.
Okay, I understand. So it will come in it will happen.
It will come into your space, and when you identify it, you hunt.
Got it. Yeah. It's just like an opportunity comes to you. It's for you to take it.
There for you to take it, but you'll know that this one is right for you.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
But I'm not out in the streets like I need a woman.
Right, with your sign.
With my sign on the placard,
I used to have a sign. I don't have one anymore.
Yeah, but well, this is interesting. All right, so it's been interesting. It's in small. It's been tricky. Bumble didn't work out. Anything else you want to add to this dating question?
I think I've come to the coffee shop. I think, when did I give it up? I have deleted Bumble from my phone a few times since I've been here. And no, this is just not the way. God will find the one for me. And I realized, and I looked back at my life, and a lot of the opportunities that I came into, I had nothing to do with, like the coolest things.
Right.
And I was like, and I gave it over to the Lord type thing. And I told him, like, if you don't want me to be married, Lord, take this desire from me. And he still hasn't. But I don't know what I want. And I don't know if I don't know.
You don't know what you want in a relationship?
I mean, I don't.
It's not clear? You know what you don't want,
I know the fundamentals.
Right.
But, oh my gosh, I was listening to this monk yesterday. And he was saying, so much of us hate insecurity in life. Like, we think we hate insecurity. But he says, if you look at a trailer for a movie, if you are able to tell the end of the movie by the time you've watched the trailer, you've decided that movie isn't great. Or you can look at the pictures and like, oh, that kind of movie there. They're going to fall in love and they're going to marry, da-da-da. They said that we don't even realize that we love suspense. We like the movies that we walk into. There are twists and turns and we don't know how it will turn out. And he said that that's the life that God has given us. But we are so afraid of it. And I love the verse, Jeremiah 29:11, and I live by it. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for good and not for harm, plans to give you a hope and a future. So I look at it like, this is how my movie will end. It will end well. So how can I trust God in this process, in the chapters, in the cool twists and turns that are going to be so cool for somebody to watch?
Turns, right?
So I have, what am I saying? So
you've released it.
I've released it.
I've released it to make it do what it needs to do.
I've released it to God.
If it's over in Portmore at the Plaza, Scripps, maybe my friend's cafe, Scripps Cafe, or somewhere in Portland or Westmoreland, or one day I go to Greyland. You never know.
True.
You never know.
True.
Anything could
happen.
So I'm
open. So what I was trying to say is, like, I'm excited to be surprised. You know what I mean? It's not like I feel like I'm all over the place and you need to know what you want. I know what I want.
Yeah.
Ish. I mean, I know the fundamentals.
But
you
don't need to see every dimension of it. Yeah, you don't need to see every dimension of it. You just need to see enough.
Totally.
And then the rest will unfold.
Wouldn't it be nice to be surprised? Yeah.
Surprises are nice. It's going to be a beautiful surprise, like India Ari.
I don't know that story.
You need to listen to the song. It's beautiful.
Okay, I'm going to. Maybe we can play that at the end of this song.
I'll play a beautiful surprise for you.
Okay.
All right. I'll just have a few more questions for you.
No problem.
Any regrets? Do you feel like you're missing out on anything you left behind in the US?
Okay. Maybe opportunity, which is everything that, I found that when I found for big personalities, I don't know, like ours, we want to attain so much. I want to be able to go skiing in the mountains and the access to it. And the access to it. So the loneliness is just a thing. For me, I knew what I wanted. So family and community are what I needed to thrive. I could not thrive without those things. But if I left that to the side, opportunities. My kids could go to Disney. Just little things. Target is my biggest thing.
Life without Target.
Walking through Target when your kid's gone off to daddy's house and you just
I call it Target.
Target, take your stress away,
What? Target. Everything in there. One-stop shop.
Target is my biggest.
I asked you that question because I'll pull me back here only once. Because when I went to music school, I did this OPT thing. You get 1 year right after you finish where you can work in your field of study. So I wasn't practicing any medicine and I was a singer. I was singing backgrounds and working in a wedding band. And it was hard. And it was a hustle, but it was exciting because I was fully aligned with music, which I wanted at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did all my auditions, I was living in the US. When I did Showtime at the Apollo, I could hop over to Jersey. I did Apollo in New York. But when I did X Factor or one of them, or the X Factor was Jersey, The Voice was New York.
I auditioned for The Voice.
You see?
Just for the fun of it, because I knew when you get... It's just
it was like somewhere, say it was even an hour away, you could drive and go do it and join the line and audition.
1,000,000%.
But I can't do that here.
No.
Doesn't mean that we don't have new opportunities we can create with the internet, but the fact that you had it there. And I was hungry for it. And that I miss being able to audition for something big. Yes. And walk into the room and potentially get it. But I can't do that if you live miles away.
No. My biggest dream still is to do the Amazing Race. It's my biggest dream in life.
That should be fun.
To win the Amazing Race. And
to win. We have to win
it. I have to win $1 million. And to get up and travel, it's easier from California to get everywhere. I went to China for like maybe $500.
Yeah,
Thailand. I don't think I paid $700. Oh gosh, you're so good.
Calee's a hope to go.
So when I'm like, oh yeah, vision boarding, I'm like, vision boarding in California is different from vision boarding in Jamaica.
Yeah.
I looked at the same price. It's like over $1,000 to do the same thing.
Different problems.
Yeah. So stuff like that. And picket fencey, cute. I can get up and run.
Right. Safety.
Outside my house. It's almost like just a beautiful.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous, and there are things, but
overall, you don't regret coming back home, though.
No, I think I needed my support. I needed people who were like me. I needed community. I don't think we can thrive without it.
So would you say that you're happy to have come home?
I am 99% happy that
you came home.
Absolutely.
99 is pretty significant.
99, yeah. Just to give credit, I feel bad because I have wonderful friends and things that happen for me in California.
Right, so big up them too, right? When I leave on out,
but I'm glad to be home. Yeah.
There are two. When we decided on this topic, I meditated on the two audiences that would listen to it.
Okay.
And my two audiences are people just like yourself who lived abroad for a while and have come home. So maybe they'll relate a lot to some of the stuff that you're saying. But people who are you in LA right now, who left and are living there, who want to come back and they are terrified or something else.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Give me you can say any number of things you want.
Yes.
Advice to those who are interested in coming back and they're on the fence.
Okay. I want to backtrack because I just remembered something just went off in my head. I didn't have Jamaican food for close to 8 years. Oh my gosh. So you had like this one store in LA that was really difficult to get to, and it cost like $20 by the time you finish ordering the curry goat and the rice and peas. I have put on over 20 pounds because I have not stopped eating.
Benefits of being back home.
Oh my gosh.
And people cook for you too. You don't have to cook for yourself.
Oh my gosh.
And the cook shop is just as
good.
The
food. You go work at the people and work them buy fritters in the morning, soup. It's a full meal, chicken.
Yeah, it's like you can get it all the time.
There you have like a bagel, you have a coffee, some carrot sticks for lunch.
But you can have chicken,
hello?
callaloo, all sorts of things. All right, so.
I like the healthy lifestyle. So, okay, so people coming, like living away. So I recognize that people who've lived away for a significant amount of time believe that as soon as they come out of the plane in Jamaica, they're going to be shot down and killed.
Okay.
That, my friends, is not the truth. That's a myth. I remember being scared, especially by those who are a little older, who thought about it, Lordy, crying, nobody come back here. It rough out here. Yeah. There's nothing here.
Yeah. Not the truth.
Not true. Not true, guys.
And it's a different Jamaica
not
too.
True.
It's a lot of things remain, but a lot of things have changed.
How is it that we remain in a bubble? I have not felt, and I don't know if I'm at liberty to say it, but like I don't feel unsafe.
I know. And that's the truth. A lot of the crime here is reprisal killing. So if you stay in certain spaces, it is
right.
somewhat
We kind of live in a bubble.
It is like a bubble. There is some bubble.
Yeah.
There is some bubble for
bubbles.
some people.
Yeah.
So yeah. There might be some factors that affect the safety.
Right.
If you are a returning resident and you're going back to your old community, which may have changed and become quite violent.
Right.
You move to an old family house in a rural area, they might rob you out there. So it's not impossible that you could be a target.
It's not impossible. And I also don't go there in my mind. I don't know if it's a personality type I had.
You've also come back to family who is still rooted here. So you have a buffer.
Right.
You do have a buffer.
So I don't want to say it's
impossible,
easy. I think I'm living with Jamaican privilege. You know, you have white privilege.
You have Jamaican privilege.
Jamaican privilege.
But at the same time, I agree with you though that I don't feel like you're going to step off the plane and get shot. You're not going to.
No, and they all think this. Everybody's afraid, and I come off and
it's again they're not willing to take the twists and the turns. You know, they've stepped out and now they're holding on to the last fear that they had and that they believed.
Yes,
and they don't really know what
the news. It's like when you watch the news, it's meant to. It's sensational, and so.
So you just figure everything is terrible, yeah.
Yeah. So I personally do not watch the news. People might hate me for it, but I do not go there. I think for my own mental and emotional space, I'll hear it from someone, by the way, but I don't sit before it or read, and I flourish like that. I remember having a friend who was just like, Calee, you live in a bubble, and I think God protects me in my bubble. I've not had.
Right.
I don't have a neon sign saying fair. I don't know. You know.
What else you want to tell them?
So
they won't get shot.
So you won't get shot when you come off. And Jamaica has a soul. I like to say that. Jamaica has a soul. What I mean by that is you get here and there's networking, there are neighbors, there are people that will look out for you.
Yeah.
You will figure it out.
Yeah.
In the States, it feels very lonely. It's a rat race. You're struggling to pay bills. You have credit. I said
Not
it twice.
many people are trying to help you.
You work to pay bills. You are hustling. It's not life.
It's not
Jamaica
life.
is life.
Jamaica is life.
Jamaica is life. You work, you go find your friends to hang out with, the laughter, the beaches, the opportunities. You don't have a money, your friend I go pay for the toll for you go across the beach.
Yeah.
And life figures itself out.
You know how much time I pay for a friend we can't have drinks, but I want to have drink. I say, look here, come. May I pay for the drinks them? And just that's the soul. That's the soul. That there's somebody who cares.
That's the soul. There you have to pay back the Venmo.
You make me feel warm in my body a while ago that I live in Jamaica. I'm not going to lie. I felt it. And it's because, for me, I use customer service. I tell people, as a man in Jamaica, you get a lot of, this is man privilege, Jamaican man privilege at fast food places. Woman will serve you extra food, they will serve you extra fast, and they will flirt with you.
That's true.
But I just love not saying, can I order something? Morning, sir. What would you like? Pay, move.
You prefer the Jamaican way?
I prefer that I'm going to either get attitude because either you're not in the
have
mood
no rice.
or I'm going to be charming and them going to be like, what you want? Do you want leg and tie? You want extra sauce?
Jamaica is great too. It's like great. You can
you can actually meet somebody who's having a good day or a bad day or sweet them up and get a response. But it's not so calculated and scripted. And that to me is the soul.
Yes.
Let me tell you, I love it. Even when them hustling, them have soul.
Even when you're there on the stoplight, I'm going to say, beg you $20 now. You will be reaching before him ask me and him take out the $20 ready to give me.
Even that, a beggar. You're a beggar.
Yeah. And I do it on purpose.
Just to see what
and them laugh. Obviously every day isn't like that. It's not always jubilant. But them nice. When the police I get a ticket, him nice.
If him not, anyway, let's leave it alone.
I think that's very general on maybe people,
Yeah, all right,
but for me.
All right, so Jamaica has a soul. That's big. And I felt a little bit of soul in New York, which I prefer New York to LA because New York to me with the grit and the multicultural grit on that side versus the multicultural grit on the West Coast, I was feeling the East Coast grit.
So you felt really accepted in these people, like they were home for you?
Okay, no, they weren't. I felt New York can be a little cold as well too, and very hustle bustle, fast paced, independent.
Right.
It's true. People actually really don't pee on you, but it's weird.
People are nice,
because
but there's something missing.
Place,
yeah,
they're helpful.
Right.
But there's something missing.
Something else. They're nice. Americans are nice.
I can't put my finger on what the thing was in New York.
Something is missing.
But that something is probably only missing for us because we're Jamaican and we identify with this. So maybe for someone, no, that's not true because I feel like a lot of tourists express this as well. You know, get that vibe. You know those tourists that come like 50 million times to Jamaica?
They love
Jamaica. I think they come because of the soul.
Them feel it.
So it's real. All right, good.
Because even we are a third world and I live around a lot of Mexicans. Everybody wants to be in the States. Everybody wants to come to the States. Only Jamaica, I don't know if everybody does, but I'm just like, no, I want to go home. I will go to my third world country and live a very happy life.
Calee, I've milked you dry with this topic. So what we're going to do now, this was so much fun for me. We've said a lot. We've been very candid. Maybe some people might not love everything, but you know what? This is why we talk truth, because this is your truth, right? If it's anybody else's, it's yours. How can people find you on social media, for work, business, whatever you want to share the space where people can find you?
Yeah. I'm working on developing some other spaces that you can find me, but right now go ahead and find me at @SuperCalee on Instagram. That's SuperCalee, and you can jump, slip in my DMs.
You said it.
Yeah, and
I'm sure that this podcast episode will at least bring a few DMs that will be meaningful, because I'm sure there'll be people who connected to it and who thought it was interesting. That part's going to be the fun part. I hope to see you have your own podcast soon. I'm sure these things are maybe in the working. Yeah, you're a light and you need to be seen. Don't be behind the snes too much. That's just my advice as Mario Evon. Thank you so
Mario.
much for being
here. It was such a pleasure.
All right. Bye.
Bye.